You're listening to the Sasha Davis Podcast, a show about overcoming fear and manifesting your dream life. Each week, we'll dive deep into real stories and tangible advice about spirituality, law of attraction, mindset, and money so that you can be your happiest, healthiest, and most abundant self. You ready? Here we go. Hey, long time no see. I've been laying low the last few months. I've been regrouping, resting, trying to figure out what my next steps are. And it's so interesting to see what stories come up in our brains, on why or why not we should do something, And so yesterday was a Pisces New Moon, and I've been probably this last year or so really into like moon energy and manifesting with the moon and just all of the cycles that come along with it, with the new moon, the full moon. And it's so interesting because we as women, our cycles, which I haven't gotten mine back yet, I probably won't for several more months because I just had a baby. Well, she's 7 months old now, so not just, but close enough, right? But women's bodies also go with the moon. So if you think of like full moon, new moon, things like that, right? The same similar cycle, 28-day cycle, and the same cycles with spring and fall and summer, and Mother Nature is just continuously fascinating me. And one of my goals for this year is just simplicity and sustainability. And I've been on this journey to be, 100% dependent on my own self. I feel like we rely too much on external resources. And so I, at some point, want to be, fully sustainable on my own, or at least as close as I can be, in modern day, right? Like I'm talking wind energy and sun energy and having my own chickens again and my own garden and just trying to be as sustainable and as low impact on the earth and the environment as I possibly can be. So that's just a little journey into myself, right? And we've settled in the Pacific Northwest. So we were traveling for several months while we were kind of, trying to find what place we wanted to be. We knew we wanted to be out west in the mountains and things like that. And so starting to get settled, December and January was really a shit show for me. And I think it was for a lot of people, the feedback that I was getting from clients and even from just like personal friends and family. December and January was tough on a lot of people, and there's a lot of crazy shit happening in the world. And so I just lost sight. Sometimes you just have to go inward before you feel like you're called to share things, and that's okay. It's okay to be quiet with yourself. It's okay to not want to share. And I think social media has really made us feel like we have to share everything. And if we're not like on 24/7, that we're a failure, whether it's as, a mom or a business owner or whatever it is that you want to be in this world, right? However you want to show up as. I feel like social media makes you feel like if you're not constantly on, then you're not doing the right thing. Or if you're not posting, or if you're not like happy 24/7. And it's like, dude, real life, you're not happy 24/7. Like there's a whole range of emotions, and you don't have to be a positive Patty 24/7. That's just not realistic. It's not sustainable, right? And I'm all about sustainability this year. That's kind of my words: simplicity, sustainability. Those are the two things. And so I have some tricks up my sleeve that I'm going to be announcing here in the next, month or so, I would say. I'm working out all the details now. When you have new information, you know better, you do better. And I have come into so many downloads this last year that my whole world has been rocked, right? Like things that I thought to be true are no longer true, And so sometimes you have to work through that before you can teach it, right? So sometimes you got to work through your own shit, wait for that wound to heal before you're like, oh, now I get it. And so I was really in the thick of that. And it's hard to show up as, your quote unquote best self when you're in like the thick of it, right? And I'm not one to pretend. And so I'm just going to be honest. That's kind of where I was at. There was some shit hitting the fan, and I'm starting to be on the other side of it. So March energy for me is just amazing. And I just killed a freaking spider, you guys. Holy shit. So I like spiders outside. Spiders in the house, no, that's not happening. So anyways, yesterday was the Pisces New Moon, and I knew it was, and I'm like, oh man, I'm going to do a podcast tomorrow. Like, I'm going to start getting back into it. And I had meant to do a podcast yesterday, and you know, when we don't put things on our calendar, when we don't stick to commitments to ourselves and say we're going to do it later, well, later never comes. So here I am, about 24 hours after the Pisces New Moon, but you're in luck because you can still write down your intentions typically within about 72 hours of the new moon or the full moon to still harness the powerful energy that comes along with it. And so one of the things with a Pisces new moon is, what are you avoiding? Like literally, like what is something you keep avoiding? And I was reading through that and I'm like, oh my God, I'm avoiding like launching myself back out there. I've had a pretty steady flow of just like one-on-one people that have found me through the podcast or just like referrals, things like that, which is great. I love it. I love that, people are still finding me. But I'm like, okay, now what's next? You start to have that like hinkling, that like inner, like your brain is all of a sudden, or I shouldn't even say your brain, like your soul is like, okay, it's coming. I know it's there. And you like start to like piece it together. But I was avoiding it because that perfectionism, like, I don't know what it all is yet, so I'm just not going to do it. But I really want to start talking about manifesting and motherhood and what that looks like. And again, going off the lines of like simplicity and sustainability and just showing up as you are instead of this like picture perfect reality, picture perfect world that people want you to think is reality. It's just not. So anyways, the journal prompt that came up for me was, what's something you keep avoiding? Believe it or not, the podcast was it. And I'm like, oh my God, Sasha, like just freaking do it, So what better way than to just take action? Like action cures anxiety, action cures procrastination, action cures avoidance. Like it cures so many things if you just move forward and don't get stuck in your head about, it has to be perfect, right? And so just to paint you guys a picture, we're in a new house. And right now we have a washer, we have no dryer. So I'm in my office / laundry room. I have clothes hanging all over the place. And my daughter is currently roaming around in her stand-up thing. I don't know a walker. I guess you could call it a walker. And the other two are napping, and I had planned on all three of them napping, but this is life. And so you just sometimes do what you can with what you have, and this is me giving you permission to do the same thing. So I'm like, I'm just going to record a podcast, and I just looked at the clock, and it's 2:22. How beautiful. Oh, that is just perfect. That is just like confirmation, validation, all the things right there. I just love how this manifesting stuff works. Like the universe is continuously giving us signs, and I just got like massive goosebumps. And so if you're one of those people that is just always looking for signs, whether it's like a color or a person or a feather or a number or a word or a song, anything like that, like, yes, you are my people. Anyway, so Pisces new moon, let's get back on track here. Really, now is the perfect time for your intentions, for the Pisces new moon intentions, right? This is the perfect time to heal any past hurts, heal any past traumas, forgive someone who you normally couldn't forgive or who you couldn't forgive before. So me, I have some family members that are close to me, or immediate family members, I should say, that I am still continuously working on forgiving. And these people don't even have to know that you're working on it, right? So I'm going to be diving into some cord cutting meditations, forgiving myself, forgiving them, forgiving some things that have happened in the last few months that I'm still holding like grudges for on these people. Cause like my ego self is like, fuck these motherfuckers. Like I just want to punch them in the goddamn face, and I'm trying to whisper. So ears, right? Earmuffs for kids in the car, I guess. A little late on that. But that's like where me, like anger, like, oh, these motherfuckers, and it's okay to be angry. Like women can get angry. It's not the end of the world if we're going to get angry. I feel like social media makes you feel like you can't, or society makes you feel like you can't be angry as a woman. And I think that that's bullshit, because women also have emotions, and it's okay to get angry. It's okay to get mad. It's okay to stand up for yourself. So, but I have to calm myself down and like reel it in a little bit. Like I can be angry without also being hurtful, and so that's something that we all, I think, can work on, is we can be angry, but we don't have to be hurtful. Right. And so I'm trying to work through on like, okay, it's okay to be mad, but how can I still forgive this? Because really anger can do many great things for you. But when you're holding that grudge, sometimes it's like poking holes in your energetic balloon. And so you're just kind of like, you don't really have a full balloon of energy because you have all these holes in it, right? And so forgiveness kind of patches up those holes. Yes, they're still technically there, but they're no longer leaking, right? So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm at like fixing my energetic balloon, I guess, if you will. So that's something that you guys can work on too if you're working on forgiving someone that you may not have been able to forgive before. This is also a really great time to manifest that life that you've been envisioning. So really do those visualizations, really get yourself into the mind space of what your life looks like, not if, but when it happens. You know, this time last year, it was March. I was in Iowa. Actually, I think I was in Texas vacationing, doing like our trial run for living in the RV full time. But I was still in Iowa. It was like negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit. It was just miserably cold. I thought that I was never going to move. Like, it was so far away. We're never going to leave Iowa. We're never going to leave this place. I was pregnant. It just all seemed so far-fetched. But I kept getting into that mental space of like, okay, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. And I shit you not, in my journal every day, I would write down, like, I live on a ranch. I have these things. I have an indoor arena. We have over 100 acres. And I'll do a farm tour here soon. But let's just say where we are at now has checked every single box. And I could not have imagined a better deal, right? The universe always is giving us something better, something better. So I was trying to get as specific as I can, but let go of the outcome, right? Because I tried to make it happen a couple of times, but when you force things to happen, it doesn't flow, things just go wonky, and you end up disappointed, right? And so I was just trusting in the universe, trusting in God, trusting in spirit, trusting in all of these higher divine powers, right? That be. And holy shit, you guys, when you let go of the who, what, where, when, why, how, and you just get really like open and honest with what you want, but the how, I guess, is not as important, things really start rocking and rolling. So start manifesting what you envision. Now is a perfect time for you to master healing techniques, any healing skills. So if you're into like Reiki or crystals or meditation, manifestation, tarot cards, yoga, anything like that's going to be healing for you. Being out in nature, you know, like nature is super healing for me. Now is a great time to allow your artistic self to blossom. So for my fellow gardeners or fellow nature people, being outside, like getting your hands dirty, like today I'm going to order my chickens. I'm so excited. Oh my God, you guys, I have missed having chickens so much. Like, I am a farm girl. I'm a country girl through and through. I absolutely love travel life, and I could still travel, but I can't tell you how much I missed having like plants and chickens and being with my horses. Like, I'm torn, you know, like I want to travel all the time, but I also want to have like all these things with me all the time. So it feels really good to be rooted back into farm life. Anyways, so allow your artistic self to blossom, right? So whether you're painting or dancing or singing or gardening or riding horses, or maybe you're into roller derby, or there's something that's going to like boost your artistic self. It can even be like makeup, you guys. Like, you can be artistic in makeup. You can start writing your book. Anything that like lights your soul up, I want you to start doing those things, right? And then the last thing that is a really good time for is bringing closure to any dead-end relationships. So this is it can be with, I hate to say spouse, but I mean, sometimes, you gotta cut them ties too, right? So any spouse or significant other, any family members who have wronged you that, this is so hard. It's so hard to cut off family members, because you want to be family, right? A lot of times people say blood is thicker than water, but that's not always the case. So anytime that you have people that are not respecting your boundaries or make you feel less than, it is time to cut ties with those people. And it can be work, it can be friends, it can be family, it can be significant other, it can be all types of things, right? So now is really the time to bring closure to any relationships that are not coming with you in this new life that you're envisioning for yourself. I'm not even going to say new life, this life that you are creating for yourself, that you're co-creating with the universe, with God, with spirit, right? And so here's some journal prompts for you. Come back to this, or just take a minute, if you're driving or if you're multitasking, just take a minute and sit with these questions. Okay. And you can even come back to them later tonight, journal about them. Like I said, you usually have about 72 hours after the new moon or the full moon to still harness that energy. Okay. Get your crystals out, get your oils out, get your journal out, burn some sage, do all the things, get all woo-woo with it. I love it. And if you do it, if you have like a ritual that you end up doing, please, for the love, just tag me on social media or just send me a DM on Instagram and be like, dude, I did it. Because I'm going to be like, yes, I love this shit. So here they are. Journal prompts. What is something traumatic that has happened to you that you wish to let go of? I'll say that again. What is something traumatic that has happened to you that you wish to let go of? Don't overthink it. Write down the first couple, 2, 3 things that come to mind. Okay. Or if it's just one big thing, write that one big thing down. Next, what is something you keep avoiding? I'll say it again. What is something you keep avoiding? Don't overthink it. Write down the first few things that come to mind. Mine was podcast, exercising. Like those were the first 2 things. The podcast and exercising. And I mean like exercising. I'm very active throughout the day, guys. Like I'm very active and I could easily use that as my excuse to not, quote unquote work out. But I want to start lifting weights again because I'm that person that's full of that energetic anger. Like I'm always like, ah! And so it makes me a calmer person when I can just like really get in a really good hard workout. I'm a lot calmer and I've been avoiding it. And I know that I've been avoiding it because I've been yelling a lot. And I can always tell by the amount that I yell what I need to do. Like I need to get outside. I need to have some alone time and I need to lift heavy weights, right? Those are like the things that really calm me down, and spending time with horses. Like that's another thing. So what is something you keep avoiding? Next, what is something you become dependent on when under stress? What is something you become dependent on when under stress? Mine, junk food. I no longer drink. I no longer smoke. Well, I drink once in a while. Like I'll have like a glass of wine or something here and there. But I don't have any of these vices like I used to, And so now I want junk food. Like I want sweets. Like give me a big old bowl of ice cream. Give me a dozen cookies. Give me candy. I'm a big candy person. I could eat a whole bag of Skittles. I actually ate a whole bag of jelly beans about a week ago. Do I regret it? Yes. Did I regret it at the time? No. But junk food is the thing that like I go to when I'm under stress. Okay. Or yelling. Yelling is the other thing. What's my go-to? I just freak out. Like I just lose it. There's no other way to describe it other than I just lose it. Like it can be the smallest thing and I will just come unglued. Those are like my 2 things that I go to. So what do you go to? Is it drugs? Is it alcohol? Is it yelling? Is it junk food? Is it isolation? Do you just go to sleep? Like, what do you do when you're under stress? Okay. And last thing, what is the best life you can imagine for yourself? So think of things like, where are you going to live? What do you do for work? How do you show up? How do you manage stress? What does your bank account look like? What does your family life look like? What kind of car do you drive? What do you do for hobbies? What do you do for fun? What do you do for yourself? What does your self-care routine look like? How do you feel? How do you look? What is your hair color? What type of clothes do you wear? Okay, think of all of these things. And there's no right or wrong answer. Look to other people for inspiration, but by no means do you have to do what somebody else is doing. And I still fall into this trap, you guys. I still am like, oh, well, how can I teach manifestation if I'm somebody who does this, and this? Or I'll have, I'll teach one thing. And then because I teach manifestation or because I talk about the moon, that all of a sudden I don't believe in this or that, and it's like, there's so much gray, and with everything that we see in the world with, are you a vaxxer or an anti-vaxxer? Are you left or are you right? Are you black or are you white? Are you a he, she, or are you a she, he? And all of these things. And it makes it so confusing that There's no right or wrong answer. And that's kind of where we just like hold space for people. But I feel like if we see others who don't agree with us, we automatically project our fears and insecurities onto them, saying that they're right or they're wrong or they're this or they're that, right? And so just be confident and comfortable with who you are. And you don't have to share with everybody. I think that's the other thing, is you don't have to tell people how you feel. You don't owe it to anybody to tell them what side of the political party you're on, or if you're this or you're that. It's not your job to be an advocate for everybody. Now, if you want to be an advocate for things that are, super important to you or that you're super passionate about, 100% more power to you. But don't feel like you have to weigh in on every single thing. It's not sustainable, right? Sustainability. You can't be in all places all the time. I have to continuously tell myself this, especially since I have 3 different kind of businesses going on right now. I have to remind myself, I can't be everything to everybody all the time, right? I have to set my intentions and focus my time and energy in different areas at different times, right? We can't be all the things to everybody. So when I'm being a mom, I'm being a mom. When I'm, on a call, I'm on a call. And, sometimes life happens and you have to do 2 things at once, right? I'm watching my kid right now and I'm talking to you guys. That's just real life. I'm sorry to say it, but there's people out there that say, oh, if you aren't focused on this, then you're not really focused. And I get it. I'm not giving her 100% of my attention right now, but she's also right next to me and I know that she's safe, right? And I'm a mom, and all the people who are out there who are moms or dog moms or who have done 2 things at once, you get it. And if you have dreams, if you have goals, sometimes you just have to do it. You just have to do it imperfectly until the perfect circumstances come up, and then you can better your best. But until then, don't get hung up on it has to be this way for you to get started. It doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. And anybody who is out there saying that, oh, it has to be perfect, perfect conditions for you to get started, is either lying to you or lying to themselves, or both. Because there is a time and place in their life where they had to have started, or I shouldn't say had to have, but I'm pretty confident that they started under not perfect circumstances. And I understand that if people want things to be perfect, they want things to be a specific aesthetic or a certain way, I get it. But it does not have to be that way for you to get started, okay? It doesn't have to be. And if you want it to be perfect, then start asking for help, right? I could very much have somebody come watch my children, and I did, and it worked until it didn't. And now I'm doing the best I can with what I have. And will I find someone to help me with the kids again? Oh, you betcha. I just don't know in what capacity yet, right? And if we don't have enough information to make a decision, sometimes we just have to sit with the intention that the right thing will come up at the exact right time. And that's my intention for you guys with this podcast, is that, I may not help everybody, but if I can help somebody, if I can help one person, I'm okay with that. And so by me showing up how I am and just, telling it like it is and just being a real human, I'm not perfect. I was yelling at my kids earlier. It's just part of life. I'll just tell you what happened, because I'm sure you guys can relate. So I was cleaning up the snack table or whatever, snack time, right? Or no, I was getting ready for lunch. I lied. So I was cutting some things up and getting things ready, and I had poured my kids some applesauce. And my son decided that he didn't want to wait for that applesauce. He was just going to go ahead and get his own applesauce. And I was not next to him at the time. I thought he was, I don't even know what I thought he was doing. I have 3 of them now. I'm super outnumbered. So that's another fun thing I've been trying to navigate. So anyways, next thing I know, fucking applesauce everywhere. He's just eating it out of the container. He's pouring it into another container. He's just making his happy old self a whole bunch of bowls of applesauce, but it's all over the counter. It's all over the front of the cupboards. It's all over him. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to snap. I just did all these dishes, and we don't have a dishwasher here. I have a big farmhouse sink. So I got to wash the dishes and put them in, a drying rack. And so I had just done a bunch of dishes and put them on the drying rack. Now they're all covered in applesauce. And I gotta wash them again, you guys. I was set it all on fire. Set the fucking house on fire. I'm done. I'm walking away. Throw a match on it. I'm done. I had hit my limit. But at the same time, so I just put my hands down. And I was like, are you kidding me? And he just looks at me and he says, applesauce? I'm like, Yeah, it's applesauce. You gotta be kidding me. So anyways, I just take a few deep breaths and try not to lose my shit. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, I'm done. Like, just eat your dinner or eat your lunch and it's fine. It's whatever. You know, it's funny now, but at the time, like, you just want to snap, right? You just want to, like me, I just want to break shit. Like, I'm going to punch a hole in this cabinet. I'm going to break everything. Like, that's just me. Like, I go from 0 to 60. And so I've learned to kind of calm myself down a bit, but that's real life, right? That's real life. Or at least that's my real life. I don't know what your real life looks like, but that's my real life, you know? And then they do lunch. And then after that, you know, I go right back into my own happy self. I've learned just that emotions are emotions and they don't define us. Just because I got angry then doesn't mean I'm an angry person. Or just because I was sad last month doesn't mean I'm a sad person. Or just because I'm happy right now doesn't mean I'm a happy person. Like, we are not the labels that we put on ourselves. You know, labels are just a thing to help describe where we're at in life and how we're feeling. You know, emotions are a feeling. They're not you. You are not your emotions. Emotions help you feel a certain way, or help you manifest certain things, or help you make sense of things, or help you navigate life. But that doesn't mean that you are that emotion, right? If you're depressed, that doesn't mean you're always depressed or that you're a depressed person. It just means that that's how you're feeling right now. And there's ways that you can manage and cope with that, right? Same thing with anger. Like, just because you get angry once in a while, or even all the time, like if you're angry all the time, take that as a sign that you need to do something to lessen your anger. Like, write down all the things that are making you angry and how can you eliminate or reduce those things that make you angry, right? Maybe you're just super stressed out. Maybe you're not taking enough time for yourself. Maybe you're not getting enough sleep. Maybe you're not drinking enough water. Maybe you're drinking too much coffee. I mean, there's a million reasons that you could be feeling these things. But when we start to dig deep on like why we're feeling that way, it helps us recognize that, oh, hey, like I have the ability to change this. That's pretty awesome, right? That's the joys of being human, is you get to feel all the things, you know, you don't have to just be one singular way. So this is me just giving you permission to feel the feels. It's all good. You're good. We're good. Everything's good. And so write your intentions for this Pisces new moon. What do you want to let go of? What do you want to manifest? What do you want to envision for yourself? Or what do you envision for yourself? How can you start to heal some of these past hurts? How can you start to heal some of these past traumas? Who can you forgive, or at least start to forgive? Maybe you do some cord cutting meditations, things like that, right? Okay, guys, I'm so glad that I did this. I'm so happy that I did this. I hope you're happy that I did this too. And if you haven't noticed, I do have a new artwork for the podcast to kind of encompass the theme for this year. So that's where we're at. If you enjoyed it, take a screenshot, tag me, Sasha.Davis on Instagram. And right now I did open my calendar for some one-on-one sessions with me. So if you want to do a coaching call, Reiki call, tarot reading, anything along those lines, head on over to the link in my bio. I'll also put that link in my show notes here so you guys can kind of see what I got going on. And then if you are interested, I'm going to be opening up a mentorship opportunity here coming up. So if you want to be insider scoop on what that looks like, I also have a waitlist on my Instagram bio. So if you're already working with me in a one-on-one capacity, because I know that there's some of you that are out there listening that are already working with me, you will be grandfathered into that if you choose, if you desire. Otherwise, if you're interested on what that is, go ahead and sign up for that waitlist, and you guys will be the first to know when details roll out for that. So that's all I got for you today. Hope you have a kick-ass day, and we'll catch you next time.